Hello fishing friends, this is Matthew with Outfishing 13 bringing you another Zebco reel service and repair video. Today I'm working on a reel for a client and we're going to be doing a super tune. This is the Zebco Rhino 33 Max. Now I just recently did a video on a Zebco Rhino 33, but this is the Max. It's a bigger, it can use up to 20-pound test. It's a little bit sturdier, a little bit bigger of a frame, just a little bit bigger all around. But it's the same 2020 model as the one I just recently did. So we're going to get into this, show you everything about it. We're going to pay real close attention to the anti-reverse on this because that tends to be where everybody gets confused. Putting these reels back together is the anti-reverse and how that works. So it has never been serviced, but it's never been used. It's brand new. So we just want to make sure that it's greased well and it has plenty of grease. And I'm going to put 3 ball bearings in it. One's going to go in the nose and then 2 are going to go on the handle. It already has a bearing on the main shaft in the center. So we don't have to do anything with that. And I'll put the part numbers for the bearings because there's 2 different types of bearings. There's bearings that go on the handle here and a different bearing that goes on the nose cone here. So I'll make sure that I put those in the comment in the description below. And not only that, but I want to also put you a link to the Zebco's recommended lubrication servicing for these reels, because I've had some comments that people have taken these apart and they don't see a lot of grease on them. Well, often there's not a lot of grease that comes from the factory. They're just lightly greased to begin with because Zebco expects you to service these within the next 6 to 12 months after you get them. But if you get one and you're going to use it really heavy in the summertime, you might want to just take it apart and service it right off the bat so that it has plenty of grease in it so it doesn't wear the parts out. Now the bushings that are in this reel are plastic bushings, a plastic one in the nose and 2 on the handle. And they're really durable bushings, so if you take care of those, they're going to last you a really long time. I'm going to add ball bearings to this because it's going to make it a little bit smoother. It's going to make it actually last longer if you take care of it, and it'll just make it a better reel all around. And for 2021, Zebco's coming out with the new Zebco 33 Platinums. I'm sure they're going to make a Platinum Max, and it has a metal frame and ball bearings all the way around it. So their top of the line Zebco 33 Platinum is already like a 5 ball bearing reel. It has 4 ball bearings and then 1 roller bearing. But so let's just make it a Platinum to begin with. So let's get started and show you this new 2020 Zebco 33 Rhino Max. Now, if you haven't seen any of my other reel service videos, you know you just need a few things to service a Zebco reel with. You're going to need a couple of screwdrivers, a big one, a small one and a big one. You're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers. You're going to need some reel oil, and you're going to need some grease. I use 2 different types of grease. I use a tri-flow lighter weight grease for the drag washers and other smaller things, and then I use, just for the gears, the main gear and the pinion gear, I use some Lucas red grease. It's really sticky. It's super tacky, and you might want a brush to wipe the grease on with, but that's really all. And if you're going to be cleaning it, I like to use WD-40 to clean out all the old grease because it cuts through the grease. It doesn't lubricate it, but it helps cut through the grease to clean it and protect it from moisture. All right, let's get started. The first thing we want to do with any of these Zebcos is remove the front. So this Zebco 33 Max is just like many other Zebco 33s. Depress the button and turn it just a little turn to the right and wiggle it off and take it off. So the first thing I want to do here is remove the spinner cone. Hold on to the handle and spin it to the left. Next, we need to take off this retaining ring right here. Use a small screwdriver and give it a little twist and it comes right off. Before you do that, you want to make sure the drag is all the way loose to the left, which it was. That will make it easier to get this off. Okay. And then we have some drag washers. We have a stainless steel drag washer. It's a keyed drag washer. See the key right there? And then it has a fiber drag washer or Teflon drag washer. Take that aside. I'm going to keep this clean. And it's pretty well lubricated. I'm happy to see that. And then this can come off. On the back here, there's another keyed washer right here. This is a beveled washer. And this is another stainless steel drag washer. It's not keyed. And then we got another fiber drag washer here. And then we got the drag gear here. And then we've got this little piece right here. I'm just going to try leaving that in. It'll probably fall out, but it's just a little axle with the gear for the drag. Okay. This right here is one of the bushings we're going to replace. We can take the handle off now. We don't need the handle on there anymore. So use your big screwdriver. Take the handle off, and then we need to depress the button, put a small screwdriver underneath there, and just gently lift up and pry that, and it'll click off. There's that. It came out. And then sort of just wiggle this and turn it to the side a little bit, and then it'll come off easy on these ones because the button is actually bigger than the hole. And lift that up and scoot it to the side. Okay, now we're ready to dive into the rest of this here. So we need to take out this bushing right here and this bushing retainer clip and a bushing right there. Okay, so we'll take this out and we'll take our, so there's the plastic bushing. And we're going to take that out. We're going to take this plastic bushing off right here. Now you always got to be careful. There's another little shim washer that's in here that can fall out. Okay, and then to take the main axle out, we need to just push this aside. Switch. It doesn't seem to be working, so I'm going to go ahead and loosen it up here. Okay, we got it out. Take this main shaft out. Now the anti-reverse just falls out of that way there. Let's see what's going on with this anti-reverse switch. Okay, we got everything taken apart. I want to show you something here. This one comes with 2 shim washers, 3 shim washers actually, and we're probably going to have to remove at least one when we put the new bearing in because the new bearings are just a slightly thicker than these bushings. Those shim washers are used to set the gear lash on how tight this gear is against this gear. Okay. Now that we're ready to put it back together, we're going to put it back together in reverse order. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this in. I've got this all greased up. The next thing I'm going to put in is my drag wheel. Okay. And it has a clicker, little clicker slots here, and then this beveled slot here. So even though it could probably go in this way, you want to make sure it goes in this way here. Okay? And then we're ready to put this back in. This goes back in here. It's pretty simple. This little part goes in like so. See that little slot right there? And then you got a little screw. That screw has a shoulder on it, so you screw it down until it's snug, not too tight, and make sure your clicker works. It's pretty snug little clicker, so okay. Then we're ready to put this in. Now it helps if you put a little bit of grease on this right here. I've already put some grease on there, and it goes in this direction here. That's what it looks like going in. And there's a little tab here and a little tab there and a little slot there. That little slot goes on the anti-reverse just like that. Okay, so this anti-reverse goes down like that. Those pliers. Grab onto the tip here and then just get it into that little slot down in there like so. Okay, just like that. So you got it just like that. Now you're ready to put this in here. Okay, I want to put grease on this. It doesn't require a lot. I'm going to make sure I put my washers on there. I'm going to put all 3 of them on there. And then when you're putting it back together, take that little actuator and point it down like this. Get this side put in first, and then point that actuator down so that it's going to go down underneath and into that slot. Just like that. Okay? So there we are. Now let's put the bearings on. We'll start by putting this side on. Use that. And then seat it in there. And then just flip that bushing out. And put the other side on. Use a plastic bushing and the screw to seat it in there, because you want to just go in there. It just makes it snug. Okay. Then we're going to put the handle on it, and we're going to test the anti-reverse. Put your finger on there when you're testing the anti-reverse. So, but the anti-reverse is not engaging. Let's see, what did I do wrong? Oh, it's down. It's not down underneath there properly. Okay, I've got it pushed down in there now. There we go. All right, you might have seen what I did there. It wasn't, the actuator wasn't all the way engaged with the anti-reverse pawl, so I just slipped it down in there and got it to engage. And you can kind of see it down in there, but it's hard to, but it needs to be down in there and go in that little slot in there, but now it's working properly. Okay, we got our bearings in. Make sure you put your retaining clip in there. It just slides down in there. And we're going to test to see how the gear lash is. Now, I feel like the gear lash is just a little too tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out one of the bushings, because I just feel like that's a little too tight. I can feel that it's not running really smoothly, which means that this gear is engaged too tightly with that. So to do that, I'm just going to take this apart real quick and take one, and I don't have to take the whole thing apart. I just need to take this one bearing out right here. And then I need to take one of these shim washers out. So I think that was 2. Yep, that was 2. So I'm going to take out the thicker one, and I'm going to leave one of the thin. So there's 2 thin ones on there. We'll see how that works. Put Put the bearing back in. Now this is really critical. You know, don't throw that away. Save it in a little bag with your parts, because, you know, in a couple years that gear lash could get a little bit loose, and then you could take the bearing out, put this back in there, and tighten it up a little bit. So I use this to put this back in here. Seat it in there good. Take the bushing out. Okay, put the retainer in there again. And push this over like so. Put your handle on and try that. Oh yeah, much smoother. I like that. Tighten it up. Okay, and let's work on the front. To put the front together, I'm going to use my tri-float grease. Okay, first thing I'm going to put in here is this little gear, and you just kind of got to work it down in there, and it needs to sit down in there flush like so, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of oil, a little bit of grease on here for this to ride on. And then when you put this back together, put it back together so that that's all the way that direction like so. Okay. Then we want to put a little bit of grease on here. And then this spring washer. And a little bit of grease. And then this keyed drag washer. It goes just like that. Then you want to add just a little bit of grease. And then you want to make sure that you grease up the spool shaft here. You put on a drag washer. I feel like one of these is thicker. I think the thicker one goes on the bottom. Okay, and then we can put the spool on. And then a little bit of grease. Next drag washer, and then this keyed drag washer. There we go. Now when I get to this point, I test the drag. Nice and loose. Okay, I checked the full range of the drag, and that's working really nicely, and it tightens up very well. It's a nice smooth drag. So it's very easy to adjust. So we'll put on the spinner cone. It's greased up pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more of this grease to it. I'm going to add a little bit of grease to this part right here. A little bit of grease on the top there. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to these pins right here. Just a drop. Okay. With the anti-reverse engaged, you don't need to hold the handles. Just got to put that on there. Put a little bit of grease on here. Just a tab, because it's metal against metal. These are really nice buttons. They have a guide there so that that thing doesn't go back and go get all ski-wampus. Okay. Turn your back cover just a little bit crooked, and then get the front lined up first. Just like that. Line up the back. Just like that. It's working good. Put my front cover on. That hole goes to the bottom. That's working great. I'm going to take this off for a minute and I'll show you just how nice it's working. There we go. Look at that. All right, well, that's the Zebco 33 Max Rhino, the Rhino Max with 20-pound test. Got a bi-alert. Anti-reverse works great. Now it has 4 ball bearings in it. I got that drag all tuned up nicely. It's working really good. It was a little bit stiff before and wasn't working great. I got the anti-reverse working properly. It's kind of hard to get, but it works. It works good now. And I made sure the gear lash was set nicely. But that's a really nice reel. I want to thank Jonathan for sending this to me and trusting me and letting me get another video out. If you like the video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel by pushing on the button right over there. Thanks, and have a great day, and have a great day on the water the next time you go fishing.